Dividing whole numbers and decimals. Divide. Round to the nearest whole number. We're going to divide using hand calculation, so we need to set up a long division problem. The number that is being divided will go underneath the division bar, and the divisor, which in this case is an 80, will go on the outside. So that's being divided into the 1,320. Now we want to divide 80 into this value. So if we look at 80, we'll ask ourselves, can 80 go into 1? It can't. So now we'll ask ourselves, can 80 go into 13? It cannot. Can 80 go into 132? Yes, it can. How many times can 80 go into 132? That's one time. Next, we'll multiply. So 1 times 80 is 80, and we'll place it under the 132, and then we'll subtract. 132 minus 80 is 52. Our next step is to bring down the digit that's left over, which is 0, and then we'll start this process over again. So 80, how many times can 80 go into 520? Well, this is 6 times. Next, you'll multiply 80 times 6, which is 480. Now subtract 520 minus 480 is 40. And then we'll bring down. Since we don't have any other values to bring down, we'll put a decimal, and then we'll also carry that decimal on top for our answer. Now we can put as many zeros as we want behind the decimal point in order to bring it down. So 80 goes into 400 5 times. 5 times 80 is 400, and 400 minus 400 is 0. Since I have a 0 as my remainder, I can stop, so I know that my answer is 16.5. Now the directions tell me to round to the nearest whole number. So that means I want to round the 6, which is in the ones place. So I'll look at the number next to it, which is a 5. The 5 is a 5 or greater, so I'll round the 6 up to a 7. So my rounded answer is 17. Divide. Here we're going to set up the problem as a long division problem and do this by hand. We have 103.935 divided by 12.3. I have my divisor on the outside, and then I have the dividend on the inside. In order to divide decimals, we want to look at the divisor, and we want to make this a whole number. So we're going to move the decimal one place to the right. Whatever you do in the divisor, you need to do to the dividend. So we're going to take this decimal and move it one place to the right as well. Wherever we move that decimal, we'll just bring it up top in our answer so we know that that's where the decimal goes. Now we're going to divide as usual. We'll ask ourselves if 123 can go into 1, and it can't. So will 123 go into 10? No. Will 123 go into 103? No. Will 123 go into 1039? Yes. And 123 will go into 1039 8 times without going over. And then we'll multiply 8 times 123, which gives us 984. Next, we'll subtract, and we get 55. Then we'll bring down the 3, and we'll do this process over again. 123 goes into 553 4 times. 4 times 123 is 492. When we subtract, we get 61. And then we'll bring down the 5. And 123 goes into 615 5 times. And when we multiply 123 times 5, we get 615. So our remainder is now 0. So we know that our answer is 8.45. You are planning a charity event and your budget is $2,100. If it costs $22 per person, how many guests can you invite and what is the amount remaining? In order to solve this problem, we need to divide. So we'll divide 22 into 2,100. And this will give us the number of guests that can attend the charity event. So 22 can go into 210 9 times. 9 times 22 is 198. When we subtract, we get 12. Now we'll bring down the 0, which is 120. So 22 goes into 120 5 times. 5 times 22 is 110. 120 minus 110 is 10. Now, we don't have any other values to bring down, so I'm going to add a decimal. And I'll add the decimal to the 2,100 and also to our answer. And then I can add as many zeros as I want behind that decimal point in the dividend. So I'll go ahead and bring down a 0. So 22 goes into 100 4 times. 4 times 22 is 88. 100 minus 88 is 12. We'll go ahead and bring down another 0. 22 goes into 120 5 times. 5 times 22 is 110. 120 minus 110 is 10. We'll go ahead and bring down another 0, and we can continue this process. And if you'll notice that we'll keep on getting that 4, 5 repeating. So this will just keep on, and the 4, 5 will be a repeating decimal. The remainder will never be 0, so our answer is 95.45 repeating. So our question asks us, how many guests can you invite? Well, since this is a decimal, I can only invite 95 people because 95.45, we can't have 0.45 of a person. So the maximum number of people that we can invite is 95 people. Now we want to find the amount remaining. In order to do that, we need to figure out how much it will cost to invite the 95 people. So we're going to multiply 95 people times $22 because it's $22 per person. So we have 95 times 22. 5 times 2 is 10. We'll carry the 1. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. Put our placeholder. And then 2 times 5 again is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 9 is 18. Plus the 1 is 19. We'll add these two values together. And we get 2,090. So it costs $2,090 for 95 people, but we had a budget of $2,100. So we're going to subtract 2,100 minus the $2,090 that it costs for 95 guests, and we get $10. So that means that we have $10 remaining. So our final answer is that we can invite 95 guests and we'll have $10 remaining.